So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite neighborhoods in Virginia Beach. It's called Christopher Farms, and we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone. I'm a real estate agent in the Hampton Roads area, and that goes from Virginia Beach and through Williamsburg, and I do videos every week about living and moving to the area. So Christopher Farms is one of my favorite neighborhoods in Virginia Beach. I don't even talk about it enough. I feel like it gets overlooked a lot. I'm going to tell you all about it and why I think it is one of my favorite neighborhoods in the city. We're going to go through neighborhood streets. We're going to talk about the houses themselves, and we're going to talk about the cool things about it that I like, and also the things that I don't like about it. Because again, I think every area has pros and cons. So we're going to talk about the cons too. So where is Christopher Farms in Virginia Beach? So if you look on the map, you'll see Virginia Beach on the eastern side of Hampton Roads right here. Or if you're going to zoom in, you'll see that belt, Interstate 264, that goes across the central part of Virginia Beach, where you're going to go south from there. South towards, you see this little blue dot? There you go. There are two lakes around Christopher Farms. It is off of Holland Road and near Princess Anne Road, and this is right here. These two big circles. This is Christopher Farms right here. Now you're close to two primary roads: Holland Road on the north side and also Princess Anne Road on the south side. And one of the benefits to the neighborhood is that there are multiple roads that connect to both of these streets. So two connecting to Holland Road from the neighborhood on this side, and also one connecting on Princess Anne Road from the south side. And this is important because these are two primary roads that go very far away from the neighborhood, and you can take these roads to get into different parts of the city and then also into different cities themselves. So Princess Anne, you can see it goes all the way into Norfolk, for example, and also connecting towards the interstate system, and as well as Holland Road does too, but it can easily get you over towards the beach, going up towards the ocean front, and even closer to the other northern sections of Virginia Beach towards 264. And you can see from where you are proximity-wise, you're not that far away from Oceana Naval Air Station, the largest primary military base that's close to the Christopher Farms neighborhood. So on that note, let's talk about shopping real quick. First, so shopping close to Christopher Farms, you have a lot of options, but depending on which direction you want to go, you have some different varieties of options. So if you're on Princess Anne Road, talking about connecting to the south part of Christopher Farms, you'll find a couple different primary spots. You've got Harris Teeter, and you've got some other restaurants nearby, which is on the corner of Princess Anne and Nemo Parkway, and also Lansdowne Commons, which is a big section with plenty of strip malls, big box stores like a Starbucks, and all like restaurants and all sorts of stuff. Like this restaurant called Zoop, which is a soup place that's in here too. Big centralized shopping area there too. And then further away from there, you've got Target, you got Walmart, you got plenty up and down Princess Anne Road, and it connects you over towards Town Center, which leads you up in places like Wegmans and more Target and Walmart options there in downtown Virginia Beach, which is got a little bit more of upscale in the central part of Town Center. And then if you're on Holland Road, going further to the south and then going east towards Nemo Parkway brings you over towards all the stuff around Red Mill Commons, more shopping areas around there, the Harris Teeter, Kroger, a lot more grocery stores over on this side too, Strawbridge Shopping Center, and also Red Mill Commons. So plenty of shopping, plenty of strip malls, plenty of nearby restaurants as well. Another restaurant I like also that's closer over towards the Red Mill side, which is one of the, I think it was rated the best, according to Yelp, seafood place in the country, is Blue Seafood, which, if you love seafood, this is a small place. Get there early. They don't take reservations. Some of the best seafood I've ever had, and it's in Virginia Beach. So that the access to lots of shopping in other parts of the city is great. But then why else do I like Christopher Farms? Okay, number one is the way that the neighborhood is designed. It's got two big circles with lots of cul-de-sacs that connect off of the main roads in Christopher Farms. There are three different phases in Christopher Farms. They built the first one in the late 80s, and then the next second phase in the early 90s, and then the third phase in the mid 90s. As you see the design of the neighborhood, you'll see multiple main roads and then cul-de-sacs that connect off of those main connecting roads that lead lots of opportunities for kids, because again, the cul-de-sac dynamic is awesome, and so you have a lot of houses on cul-de-sacs. But then you also have the lakes. So you see multiple lakes. They are amazing. One of them has a 0.8 mile track around the lake. You have a lot of houses on the lake. For the price, the most houses on a lake you will find anywhere in the city. There are some others you'll find of a variety, but I like the combo of the style of house, the location on the lake. And even if you're off the lake, you're going to be finding some great spots too. But one thing I want to mention that is very important is I always try and find an area, a neighborhood that has character. And some things that make up the character are trees and foliage and something that makes you feel like you're not in a cookie cutter neighborhood. Well, most of the areas that are like that are in older neighborhoods, like areas built in like the early 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. And there are a lot of those in Virginia Beach. But what I do like about Christopher Farms is that it has that blend of foliage and trees, shade in the neighborhood, lake, nature feel, but also the styles of houses that feel a bit more contemporary, like more open floor plans. Because one of the issues you find is a lot of the houses that are in those nature-filled neighborhoods have more boxy floor plans that not as many people want. And so you find a lot of those that were opened up to make kind of a more open floor plan, but these are more contemporary, higher ceilings in a lot of these cases, 9 foot in a lot of cases. And again, more open style, but it has the balance of that open contemporary floor plan, but also the nature in the neighborhood. And that's the hard combination to find this much of in one neighborhood, and I love that a lot. Now, you can find this in other price ranges. So, for example, you can find this type of new in nature for $1 million, $800,000 if you want to go like in the northern part of Virginia Beach or in the south part of Chesapeake. And there are ways to get what you want, like that contemporary and nature combination. But my question always is, how can I find the most for as little as possible? And the price range of Christopher Farms, they start in the mid 500s and they go up into the mid 6s into close to around 7, low 7s in some specific cases, as you especially are on the lake. And the house sizes are also great too. Not too many 3 bedrooms. You'll find a lot of 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, even 6 bedroom houses in here in like the 19 to 2,000 square foot range up into 27, 29, 3,000, and sometimes you'll find it's a little bit over that as well. And so that size allows for a lot of options for families, people with multiple kids, and again, combine that with a lot of cul-de-sacs and also the sidewalks and lake access, the 2 different lakes that you find in here that really makes it pop. This neighborhood pops compared to other neighborhoods that are in the similar price range. Why else do I like it? I love the designs of the houses, number one, the face of them. Now, again, not a lot of brick in this neighborhood, which is one thing I don't like about it. I like brick over vinyl siding. But remember, with these types of houses and houses built anytime before like the 50s, the brick you see is mostly veneer. It's not actually brick like a brick house. People think that it is, but it's not holding up anything. It's just like a glorified vinyl siding. So when you don't see brick, don't assume that, oh my gosh, the house is going to fall to pieces because it's not brick. Well, brick is great. It's more of the look in these time periods as much as it is the actual structure that's made up by brick. So another thing I like about this neighborhood is the school district. You're in the Cullom High School District and the Princess Anne Middle School District. But the thing about it is the elementary school. It is Christopher Farms Elementary School, and the school is in the neighborhood. So if you look at it, it's just on the north side. It connects off of Pleasant Acres Drive, and it's right there. And so the way to get into the school is to drive into the neighborhood. So you can only access it from the neighborhood. So if you live in Christopher Farms and your child is in elementary school, what a perfect awesome feature to be right in the same neighborhood as the school. Another thing I like about the neighborhood, separate from the houses themselves, is that you feel like you can breathe. And what I mean by that is that sometimes when you go into a neighborhood, you're living in the neighborhood, and there's only one way out, it feels like you're kind of confined to a corner. One of the reasons why we like our neighborhood is because of that same dynamic. We can go to multiple different directions in an easy way and convenient way. Well, that's the way it is with Christopher Farms, because like I mentioned before, you can connect to Holland Road on the north side in two different directions, and also to Princess Anne Road on the south side from the neighborhood as well. So that is an underrated feature that not every neighborhood has, that this one is easy to use because it's the only neighborhood that these streets connect to, and so they're not super high traffic either. Now, there are some drawbacks to living in Christopher Farms. Number one is that there is a little bit of jet noise in here. It's not in the highest jet noise zone rating in 2024. But keep in mind that just because you're not in that zone does not mean you're not going to hear some. And so you will do some research on this, even if you're in the area and you can even drive through on different daytime, weekday drives. Maybe you can even hear some, and you can hear how loud it is, how frequent it is, because it's not as frequent as you might think in other areas, but it's something at least to keep in mind. That's number one. Number two, next one is, I mentioned before, is mostly vinyl siding, not as much brick. Not as huge of a deal to me just because of how I like the looks of the houses, but still I always prefer brick personally. Next is, while you're close access to a lot of shopping, you're not super close to a lot of shopping either. You within 10-15 minutes you can get to a lot. But coming out of your neighborhood, you'll have a couple of primary shopping centers, which are pretty big, but it's not as prevalent. So you will have essentials nearby, but if you're looking for like, oh my gosh, the whole city's at my fingertips with shopping, you may still have to drive 10 to 15 minutes to get to most of the things you're looking for, maybe even 20 in some cases. Now, the other thing I don't like about this neighborhood is that in the time period that these houses were built, it was common to have polybutylene pipe put in these houses. Now, what is that? So polybutylene pipe is a certain type of pipe that was installed in the 80s and early 90s that was known to rupture. And it's frustrating because you didn't know if it was going to rupture, when it was going to rupture. And so over the last 10, 20, 30 years, there's been a lot of replacements happening with a lot of the piping in houses with polybutylene piping. I'm not saying all these houses have it, but there have been a lot of replacements in houses that have polybutylene piping in the 80s and 90s time periods. But again, because a lot of houses in Christopher Farms were in this time period, just keep that in mind. If you're looking for a house in here, make sure when your home inspector does an inspection, check to see if they see any polybutylene piping in the house or evidence of it. Now, one thing to note too is that polybutylene piping had 3 phases. The first phase was always known, from my experience, as the most extreme and most concerning phase that was most known to rupture. And they did phase 2. That one wasn't as concerning, and 3 was really not as concerning at all compared to the other 2 at all. So it definitely depends on which phase, but also that factors into your insurance. A lot of insurance companies may or may not, or might factor in whether or not there might be polybutylene piping in the house, and it might affect your premiums, and if you can get insurance from a specific company at all. So that's something to keep in mind. Do some research on that if you see a house in Christopher Farms that you want to buy. Now, the next drawback to Christopher Farms is actually kind of a positive, which keeps the values up, is not many people sell in here. In the last year, in like 365 days, there have been 6 houses that have sold in the neighborhood. That's not a lot, one every couple of months. So if you find one in here, it's worth going after. There are so many houses in here that were bought by the person that built the house or bought the house under construction themselves. And so that stability of the neighborhood is huge, and it obviously helps preserve the neighborhood. Another drawback is that it is an HOA neighborhood, and you do have some strict guidelines, and that's what part of the reason that keeps the neighborhood the way it is. And so I would definitely keep that in mind when you get your house under contract. Make sure you read the HOA docs to make sure you're comfortable with the HOA as it is currently. So if you have any more questions about relocating to Virginia Beach or the Hampton Roads area from Virginia Beach through Williamsburg, let me know. It's what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. So if you have any questions, drop a comment below, email me, call me, text me. I've got my contact information in the description. You can reach out to me at any point, and I'll do whatever I can to help you relocate to the area. And I will see you on the next video.